Okay, so we're about to start the panel. This topic is about how do you build higher quality products more efficiently with technology, AI, strategies, processes, we can dive into all of that. We'll have audience Q&A, so have your questions prepared. So you guys have questions So maybe we can start with kind of intros. I'll just pass the mic along, introduce yourself.
Vic Boisering with Catan. We have a lot of products in the life science and material science space. Much of our customers are in academia. And I'm in charge of configuration engineering, which encapsulates mechanical engineering, dock control, and some MPI. And being in charge of the PLM system, very process oriented, and with the configuration engineering, it requires understanding more aspects of the business than I'll call your typical mechanical engineer. And so I've chased that avenue because of a desire to learn more aspects throughout different departments throughout the organization, and getting a better feel with the impacts of how changes, new things impact the organization, not just within engineering, but throughout, whether it be sales, marketing, finance, service, etc. And so I believe that chase has brought me to where I'm at today, and I take pride in it. And with this process, and I'm always looking at ways to make things more efficient, make things better, and AI could be something that I don't know much about. I like to learn more about it and possibly look into ways of leveraging it to help further improve and make things more efficient.
Okay, so I'm Martin Westhead. I am CTO of the consumer business and shared technologies at Netgear. We make Wi-Fi routers and switches. I'm also the AI czar, so I'm responsible for our strategy for internal adoption and bringing AI into our products. I have a history with AI, so I actually have an undergraduate degree in computer science and artificial intelligence and a PhD in artificial intelligence from the University of Edinburgh. Way back before anybody knew what artificial intelligence was. I feel like a bit of an OG, but we'll see how that plays out. And I'm really excited to see the corner that AI has turned, and just trying to keep up with what's going on in the industry and figure out how can AI bring benefits to Netgear.
My name is Bhaskar Mohan, and I'm not the OG in AI yet, so I'm still aspiring to be a student of AI. Ray Kurzweil said, AI has been there for like 60 years. People are just talking about it recently. So even like 7-8 years back, I worked on some projects in plume design for ML-based anomaly detection. So that I did. Until recently, I was part of a lawful interception company called SSA. I was a director of product, and we collect data from legally we collect the data from, we can basically say suspect phones or whatever it is, and then collate that information and hand it over to law enforcement agency. So there are two aspects to this whole process. One is collection, and one is analysis of the data. So AI can be used in both the places, and we are exploring how we can use AI to enhance this regulatory compliance. Sticks to the law that defines it, so that you don't under-collect as well as over-collect, and make sure that privacy of the individual that is being tracked or traced is not violated. So these are the important things for us from a lawful interception perspective.
Awesome, thank you. So let's dive right into the technology. I'd love to understand, everybody here builds products, builds great products. What is your strategy, your process for building these products, and where does technology come in? Where do you utilize technology and AI, and how do you do that? Whoever wants to jump on that first.
So for Gatan, the learnings and know-how, expertise, experience, etc., that to preserve that and leverage it going forward. What Gatan has done is document this, putting it in forms of BKMs, SOPs, so that we can continue to leverage the expertise and experience and learnings that we've had to continue using that going forward, but at the same time, not discounting what's available today. So, we call it a dozen years ago, we implemented a PLM solution, and that PLM solution has helped with that documentation to help preserve it, control it, and enhance it while maintaining history. So that's been a real big plus to have, and we want to continue to do so. With the PLM that we use is Agile, and I don't know, the latest news with Agile is it's Oracle announced end of the road for that. So we are exploring new PLM solutions now. Not just, so I'm taking it from the aspect of not just what are we going to find to replace Agile today, but also something that's going to be forward flexible. So to think about that. I really don't know how AI could be used to help, but that's kind of what I'm interested in, kind of learning some aspects about it today and seeing how it can be leveraged.
Just a quick comment on that. So, quick shameless plug for Quadrite here. So, Quadrite is this amazing integrated all-in-one PLM and QMS, extremely easy to use compared to older tech like Agile and others out there. Super flexible to your needs for your custom processes, and extremely amazing walk the hallway, high touch level support where Deb from here actually walks into your office, asks you and your team questions on how to improve your process, your operations, and customizes the whole platform for you. But I wanted to ask our OG AI guru, Martin, a question. So what are the use cases that you've been seeing, that you do see, or maybe have even started implementing in engineering high quality products more efficiently?
Yeah, so we, I guess in terms of the actual creation of products, where I've seen most application of AI today is on the software side. So we're obviously we're already using Copilot from GitHub, but we're starting to investigate other alternatives that are better. There's a tool out there called Cursor, which we are excited about. The challenge with it is it involves adopting a new IDE today. So everyone hates moving to a new IDE. So I don't know whether we will adopt that wholesale unless they can produce plugins. But I guess what I would call out as we're going through this journey of AI adoption is that it's not just about picking individual tools. The challenge is if an individual tool can only take you so far. In order to really get the benefits from AI tooling and automation, you need to actually look at the end-to-end business process. And you need to build a business process around the tools and the capabilities that you've got. In software, it means we're not just using tools for code creation. We're also using tools as part of the QA process. We're using tools for documentation, test generation. So the idea is that developers are only going to be spending about 50% of their time, 70% of their time if we're lucky, creating code, a lot of time doing these other kinds of tasks. And so if you really want to see significant improvements in productivity, you need to improve, across the board on all the activities that a developer is undertaking.
Thank you. And, thank you for that, Mark. And I do have a question for Betsy here. So you have experience managing a product line, an entire product, multiple products. How do you, what's your strategy process for ensuring that these products, this entire product line, solves customer problems and guarantees customer success? And do you use any technology to help you with that?
Yeah, of course, we use a lot of technology, right? So this is an existential question for any product manager. I mean, how do you manage your product? So that depends on depends on some of the companies. I mean, they may have some processes and all. So, from what I learned, first you need to have very precise roadmap. So for that, you need to talk to the customers, understand the customers, and you need to get information from a lot of sources. In my case, it's a regulated product. I need to talk. I need to be part of this HC and 3GPP organization where I can get more information on what is going to come in as part of the standards, and then what the customer will be using as part of the regulatory standards, right? And that is part of getting some input for your roadmap. And I would suggest a 5-year vision as well as a 3-year plan, but most of the time, because of a lot of reasons, you will mostly have a 12 to 18 month product roadmap, and you need to lock it down. If you change your product roadmap multiple times, you'll not be able to build a proper product, and it will not be sustainable, right? And this is one part of it. And the second part of this good product is you need to have a very, very good engineering team which understands what you are trying to do. You need to explain, but then they also need to be intelligent enough to parse between the lines. You cannot sit and question whole day because you are going to work with other stakeholders too, right? So you need to have a synergy between, when I talk about the stakeholders collaboration, I talk about the synergy between other teams. So you need to make sure the engineering team knows what is expected of them. For example, I'm going to deploy it in AWS in 6 months, and my engineering team doesn't have the knowledge or expertise in deploying AWS. I cannot put it in the roadmap. I need to make sure that the engineering team is capable of delivering it within the time frame I put it in the roadmap, because I will be showing the roadmap to all the customers, my boss and boss's boss. So everybody is going to assume that I'm going to deliver these things for a period of time, and I cannot fail them. So you need to be very, very thorough with the capabilities of your engineering team to deliver the product. Of course, you need to push them. That is it. And then you need to also bring in sales, customer support, and other teams like documentation. Everybody should be synergistically involved in that project. You need to explain the roadmap. I am always of opinion that over-explanation is better than nothing, so that you will be able to make sure everybody understands what their role is to make this product better, right? And then you need to go for very good tools and very good deployment models. Right? If you are going to do rapid development, then you need to make sure that you are following the agile methodology, and then you have a proper CI/CD mechanisms and the DevOps to support it. So all these things will help you deploy a very high grade and high quality product. And when it comes to as I mentioned, you need to be precisely in the Goldilocks zone, not to do anything untowards. Whether you mean no under collection, no over collection, no latency, you need to deliver it within 8 seconds as per mandate of the 3GPP and HC. So all these things you need to take into consideration when you create the product you want.
Thank you. I'm going to segue into quality and building high quality products, challenges, stories about that, and also looking to the future of AI as well. But does anybody here have any questions? I know who passed it to after that part. Signaling a little bit. Okay, right. So so I'm going to pass this question to Vic first, but folks, panelists, feel free to jump in and compare and contrast, rate this. Quality is a foundational part of building great products, but quality, isn't always easy. So, what are some challenges? I'm curious, stories of a challenge that you've experienced when trying to build a high quality product, and how did you overcome it? I'll pass it to Vic because your experience in mechanical and hardware electronics. Yeah, that story.
Okay. So, going back to what I mentioned earlier regarding best known methods, SOPs, and basically having processes and procedures in place. Over the years, with my experience, there's been a fair amount of feelings from, I'll call it the employees that feel as if the process, a lot of times the processes are there that it's felt as if it just slows things down and whatnot. But over the years, I've also come to have more appreciation and have learned, processes are put in place for a reason. I believe much of that reverts back to producing a quality product. So as an example, we have procedures in place for how do you go about designing mechanical aspects, and we've developed checklists. And so mechanical engineers designing, XYZ, and now, during design reviews, to help with efficiency, now questions can be asked, did you go through the checklist? Right? We don't have to ask about each item on the checklist. So it can be done, it's, check, 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 we can move on. But some of these items that are on the, best known methods or on the checklist, those have been developed not necessarily just from experts out in the field or what's been published in writing or what have you, but from our own experiences and deviations we've made to maybe what are even considered some of these best known methods that we've found maybe that's the best known method for specific applications, but for our application, we found that by making this deviation, this is the best known method for our application. And so, and to help preserve that, we've documented it. And so, that would be an example that I would use to, show how we achieve and maintain quality, and using these tools to help preserve that documentation and keep it under control helps keep leveraging it going forward as well.
Absolutely. And I'd love to ask the other panelists, right? Any stories, challenges, or pitfalls to avoid stories? Shipping hardware electronics product. Anything that's going like that. Yeah.
So my experience is mostly with software, so I can speak most knowledgeably about software, and I think the quality challenge that I've been facing at Netgear has been coming into a company where, honestly, a lot of the software hasn't been very well written. It's written, in the past by programmers, not engineers, and it hasn't been created with maintainability in mind. It hasn't been created with the ability to be able to, add features and develop them. And I've seen that be such a shackle over the last few years in our ability to be able to raise the bar in terms of the customer experience, because it just takes a lot of time. It's more work often to rewrite code that already exists than it is to create new code to replace it. And it's very difficult to persuade organizations that they need to jettison this old code because it's been doing something valuable for some period of time. And so, I don't know, I think the lesson in there is pay attention to maintainability because it will bite you. Technical debt's a real thing.
I agree with him. I used to learn engineering long time back. So one of the things when I joined SS8, what I did was move away from our monolithic deployment strategy and then introduce modular approach with them in Kubernetes and all those stuff. So because of that, they had to rewrite some of it. So before that, I made sure that we had automation ready to completely test what we are going to write. And we already knew what we are going to test because already we had the features list. And we transferred the features to the Kubernetes-based model. And we tested it thoroughly and made sure that there is always automation available to make sure the quality is there. One area we always lack is, anytime we find issue in customer base, it is not always easy to recreate in a software code. A lot of people will agree. I think probably with mechanical equipments, I think it will be much more difficult, I feel for you. But in software, we have, way out, we can basically try to do an estimated level of effort to recreate the problem. That helps actually. That is the only area I always do a catch up because we try to fix the issues and make sure that this issue doesn't reappear again in the customer setup. If one issue is found by the customer and then after a couple of releases they see the same issue, that is the shame on us. Right? So that is the only area I always feel we lack. Otherwise, my team is always better in doing a very good quality software. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you very much. Before I ask one last question, I want to ask the audience, do you have any specific questions, whether you see yourself as a panelist, you relate to them and you want to ask them how they do it, how they solve the problem that you're experiencing, or if you work with customers like our panelists here, now is a good time to ask them what you want to know about their workflow, about how their brain works. What's questions?
I have a question. I'm learning about AI, and I know there's a lot of experts here about AI, but I was wondering, how are you going to introduce that to a working environment where you don't bring fear in and where people fear that, oh, this AI is going to replace me? And how do you create an environment that is more co-op? This is going to benefit me, not so much as replace me.
Great question. Who's that?
Yeah, so certainly what we've been seeing with the AI that we can bring in is that it's not well suited to the hard problems that humans are good at, right? That you employ good human beings to do their job. What it's better at is the boring stuff that they have to do but don't like. And so, so there is a fit there. It can take away a lot of more routine and more mundane work and free people up to spend more time doing the stuff that is actually interesting and challenging. And if you can communicate that and deliver that, then everybody wins.
Yeah. Very good.
Question? Yeah.
This is specifically to marketing. Since go that far back, the old days, if you remember in the 80s, there used to be expert systems.
Yes.
So that was the AI then.
Yes.
So one of the weaknesses of today's AI is the lack of consistency and repeatability. So you might ask the same question, first 3 times you'll get one answer, the 4th and 5th time completely different answer, 6th, 7th time back to the correct answer again. So is there a way to think about a marriage between the old expert system? Today's kids probably don't even know what expert system is. Of the old expert system concept, which is rules driven, and the neural network technology to improve repeatability and accuracy maybe.
So we're certainly working with technologies that do that right now on our website. So we have a support agent that marries some aspects of an LLM with a more traditional rules-based chatbot. It's not expert systems, but it is a rules-based system. And the goal is to solve exactly this problem, right? To make sure that we're giving our customers valid responses to their queries and not just making stuff up. So I think it exists, but I think what we're doing is still fairly primitive. And the downside is that we're not getting the full power of the LLM when we do that, because we're really shackling the technology. What I'm more excited about, and maybe this is actually departing from your question of accuracy, but I think what we will start to see, one of the things that came out of expert systems was a thing called agent-based systems, blackboard systems, where you have multiple experts who are experts in specific areas who can work together on a problem, often with a shared working space. That's why they were called blackboard systems, the idea of people sitting around a blackboard and sharing working on a common area of memory. And I think where LLMs, another development that I'm starting to hear people talk about that I think is very exciting, is this opportunity for agents and agent interactions, where you would have different expertise, and some of these agents might be LLMs that can make stuff up, and some of them might be rule-based systems. And actually, as I'm talking, I'm remembering I spoke to somebody at a conference who was working on AI systems to help with market purchases, with trading. And one of the things that they were very careful to communicate was, although they used LLMs and less predictable AI things in their system, the actual trading was always done by rule-based systems. So the trading part of what they were doing was predictable, but it was advised, and you were advised by systems that were less predictable. So I think systems like that are being created, and it's interesting to see where they'll go.
Absolutely, thank you. And we got time for one last audience question. Who wants to do the last question?
This question is also from Mark, but given that you work at Netgear, such a large organization, and it's pretty undeniable how powerful AI can be these days and the importance of adopting it quickly. Given that you're interested in adopting it at Netgear, what do you think are the biggest challenges or hurdles you're facing to bringing AI to the enterprise environment, and how are you thinking about solving these problems?
Yeah.
Great question.
So I think the biggest challenge is the speed with which the technology is moving and just the sheer proliferation of tools. It's very, very difficult to keep up with what's going on. It's almost changing on a monthly basis. And from our point of view, we would ideally have more of a holistic solutions, right? Ecosystems of AI systems, not dozens of point solutions. But it's another part of the challenge is that these solutions are very functional specific. So which makes it extremely difficult to have a top-down strategy. I don't know what a good finance AI tool looks like, or HR, or so I need to work with peers in those organizations to help assess the tools and figure out what's there and bring them in. And so I guess at the moment what we're doing is a process of trying to we're trying to minimize our searches by getting peer recommendations. So we're talking to other companies, we're looking at what has worked for other people, and then we're taking those tools and looking at how we can adopt them. But I am still concerned that we're likely to end up with, just a proliferation of individual point solutions, and trying to figure out if there is a holistic story here that would make more sense and how to get to it. I don't have an answer to that part yet, but that's what I'm worried about.
Thank you. That's a really good point on the wanting a holistic solution that works in the whole ecosystem rather than individual solutions that don't talk to each other. I want to piggyback on that question and ask Vic this. You said you're exploring, learning about researching AI solutions you could bring into your process. What is your, similar question, sort of adoption process? What are you looking out for? What is a no-go? What's your metrics for what are you looking for?
Regarding AI?
Yes.
I don't at this point, to be honest. I'm just looking to learn more about it and just soak it in. So there we go.
I'm going to end the panel with one last question to ask you first. What are the pains and the pain points you're feeling either on your team today or on the start of your work, and for everybody here too? What are the pain points that still haven't been solved that your teams are feeling every day that you think would be a great use case for AI, for an AI solution to come in and solve that doesn't exist here, we don't have it yet? Yeah.
So on the law enforcement side, they are bombarded with a lot of information. So you were asking, what are the application of AI that doesn't threaten humanity, right? So this is one of the cases. So first, one case officer will be handling 30 cases at a time. And he will not have time to go through all the data that is collected from intercept, lawful interceptions, right? So there is a call record, there is email, and there is other metadata, location information, and all these things. So he needs to make sense of all these things with respect to the case. And AI will be a great help in there to figure out a pattern of life, and basically, say for example, you have a data set from a lot of places, and you have data set from multiple lawful interceptions, say gang members. They are on a Friday, every Friday they are basically assembling in one place. As an individual police officer will not be able to correlate all that information, but an AI system will be able to correlate all the information and learn over a period of time, okay, these guys are assembling in a particular place, and that place is prone to violence or whatever it is, and then predict beforehand that there is a possibility this place needs to be looked at, and sends email or alert to the police department, right? So that these kind of use cases are important for a police officer, and these are the things that will be useful AI, and that cannot be easily done by one human being at any point of time. Okay? And these are all very structured data I'm talking about. There are unstructured data coming from OSN, this is basically open source intelligence, and dark web. If you scrape a lot of information from dark web. So you can collect all this information, and if the LLM is good enough to understand it, possibly it will help law enforcement much better. That is one use case I'm always excited about.
I want a refactoring tool. I want to be able to feed millions of lines of crufty old code into an AI and have it rewrite it and produce something nice and clean and well written, properly documented with proper tests. So there you go, that's my use case. Oh yeah, tests it, proves that it actually does what it did before. The whole gamut. Yeah.
Not just be like, oh, it should work.
This is going to affect a lot of programmers. That is the human impact.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Okay, so regarding pain points, one of the things that was mentioned was, Baskin mentioned was the threat to humanity. So I feel that there's some of that feeling now with our company, which just not with AI per se, but what we did was a couple years ago when we had when COVID hit us and business was softened, and then followed by supply chain challenges, followed by increased competition. We had to figure out a way to keep the ball rolling so that when things started picking up, we could, land back on the ground running. And part of the strategy with that was to start a unit in a low-cost region, expanding the team. Basically, a way of doing more with less. And what I mean by less is financially less, but headcount-wise, it's still there's more. So so what I mean by the threat there is by doing so, what came with that is a level of uneasiness with U.S. employees. And much like what was mentioned regarding AI, that's also a worry that I would have with it. Part of what I've worked on over the last couple of years since growing the team in India is to work with the local team to lower that level of uneasiness. I don't think you can make it go away. However, it's the way that it's how you strategize using that extra manpower or extra tools, and communicating those strategies to the team and giving the team confidence in it, and lowering that level of uneasiness. Kind of like what Martin was talking about earlier with how is it going to be applied?
Absolutely. And actually, I want to piggyback off of that. I don't know if this is going to make sense, but I'll give it a shot. Something I learned as a startup founder back in the YC days is they taught us when you're, say, doing pricing or upgrading pricing or thinking about lowering pricing for a customer, they said, well, the customers don't necessarily want a lower price or a lower budget. They want more results, they want more work, and they want more sales, or they want better products, they want happier customers. So I think it's bringing that framework into a lot of different perspectives to think about it, and bringing that perspective here. I think the way that companies will look at it is, well, now that they have automation and technology and software, well, the people they have, they don't, we want to utilize people more creative and more strategic and more, sort of human brain kind of ways. But what do I know? I don't know anything. So big caveat there. Lastly, my personal vision for the future of AI and how it can solve our pain points is, this is something I stumbled upon when I first started my own startup in 2016, is when you bring people together in a room, people solve problems. Right? People always seek to solve problems, but when you bring people in a room, they'll connect with each other and work together like we have today, and they'll solve problems with partners, they'll find customers, they'll find investors, they'll find a team. And what AI can do is just keep doing that thing that has already proven to work manually. So that's what we've done today is using technology and AI to help automate, bring people together and to try and solve problems. So I want to thank our panelists and speakers here for speaking today. A big round of applause and thank you for we're going to get started with our next panel immediately. So thank you so much. Thank you.